Hi guys! Happy Saturday! It is October 17th. And so this brings a really good time for me to talk about why I live in Minnesota, because it is kind of cold outside, and every time it gets kind of chilly and it's jacket weather, I really get reminded like why I'm in this state. I lived in Georgia for 20 years. 20 years I lived in Georgia. And so I was living in Savannah, Georgia, and I felt like life was pretty good. And I had got approached by someone that I had worked with through a couple restaurants, and they had moved to Minnesota and started a business, and they had come down to Georgia to see if they could find a couple people that they knew that knew how to work, that knew, you know, our system and stuff like that. And so he spent hours with me telling me about Minnesota. And I mean hours, I mean like 10 hours, telling me, you know, this is great, Mall of America, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, I'm good. I'll stay right here. I don't, and Canada does not interest me. It's exactly what I told him, you know. And so whenever that day had went by and I didn't think anything about it, and then a couple days later I went into work, and where I worked at the time, the cooks were super nice, and they, every day at 10:40, they made breakfast for everybody. Everybody sat down at tables, and everybody just ate for 20 minutes before the restaurant opened. That was part of the tradition. And so it was a normal day. It was October, maybe it was 15th or something like that. So that morning, 5 years ago, we were late sitting down. We were just like 2 minutes behind. So everybody was like kind of making their sodas or what they were going to drink, and they were about to sit down. And whenever that happened, all of a sudden we realized that people came in through the back that didn't work with us, that we didn't know. And at that time we were forced to go to the ground. And something interesting that I'll never forget is it really shows the difference of people who have been robbed and not been robbed, in my opinion. Because a lot of the people that had been in that situation, and like, I'll be honest with you because I'll call it how it is, the Latinos that were working with me immediately knew what to do. They put their wallet, their phone, their earrings, their jewelry, they immediately hid them in several places. Like, there was just an immediate of like scatter of valuables, you know, that were put. And to be honest with you, us American people, we didn't even know what was going on. Like, it took us time to even know, like, what is this? What's the deal? And so at that time, and that morning, we were forced on the ground, and they were screaming about the cameras, and they disconnected the security system and the cameras, and all of our phones were taken from us. And, you know, there was the most pivotal point in my story was that whenever we were put to the ground, I believe in intuition, and I believe in feelings, and I wasn't prepared for the feeling that I was going to have. And right when we were put to the ground, I realized that I needed to go to Minnesota. Like, I should have taken that offer. I should have moved. Meaning, I could think of anything, right? But in my mind, the only thing I knew I could process at that time, and I wasn't even processing like what was going on, I just processed that I needed to move to Minnesota. So after you know, they had found the valuables they were looking for, they were trying to get as much as they could from us. They came to rob the employees, and I never thought about that. You never think about your work environment because you're like so comfortable, so you never imagine like that someone's been watching you and planning and, you know, all this stuff. So you know, we were held on the ground. And then it got to be about 11 o'clock when the restaurant was opening, and people started coming in the door, well, trying to come in the door, and that's when the robbers left. And when the robbers left, they took my phone by accident. They took all the other phones, and they to just put them in the trash before they left, but they accidentally took mine. And I'm an extremely neurotic, like, person. Like, I'm super scared, and I'm, like, one of those, like, what if 100 times people. And so they took my phone, and that gave me such a scary feeling, like, just to know that they have my information, and, like, they know who I am. And with that being that they took my phone, it was a little more detailed. So whenever they came in to rob us, they had an AK-47. When you have an AK-47 in a robbery, that immediately means the FBI has to come in and investigate. And when the FBI was investigating, I had to do lots of interviews. They came and investigated my neighbors before they even came, you know, to talk to me. And so with that, I was still even more, like, nervous, but I was still really hard-headed that I was going to go back to my job and shake this off, and nothing ever happened. Unfortunately, whenever I would take showers, I would hear this robbery all over again and be scared to death even to come out of my bathroom. Whenever, like I said, I get these memories, and they come back in October, and it's always the same. When I see people coming with their jackets into the door, which should be normal, you know, I go, oh no, they're going to rob us, you know. So I tried to go about, like, normal life again, but my PTSD, like, really didn't let me. I really wasn't at a position where I was functioning regularly. And so I decided to take the chance to move. I just said, I went with my intuition, and the moment that they came down, and my heart, mind, and spirit told me, you need to take this job offer, and you need to move and do something different, you know, I decided to go with that, because in Georgia and Savannah especially, like, crime is horrible, and people don't realize that. And, like, every year you have everything, you know, things stolen from you, and A, B, C, and D happen. You get tired of it. You really do. And so I was at a position where I was just really over crime being so prevalent in everyday life. And so I decided to move. And this is a really important story of mine of why I even moved to this state. And now it's been 5 years. 5 years. And I've learned so much about the Midwest. And I've met so many people. And when you move somewhere, you always say, if I miss it so much, I'll go back. But I met the most amazing people. I met my husband. I have, you know, just really changed into a different KP, and I love that. And I'll never forget my friends, my Georgia, you know, people that I know. But I'm just up here, and it takes a lot, you know, for people to say for the sacrifice of the weather, and it's really how all you think about it. We have all seasons here, and that's wonderful. And the snow is beautiful, and the economy is great here, and people are super, super nice here. You know, you in Georgia and Savannah, you drop your wallet, they're taking it. You know, here if you drop $20 when you're walking, someone will chase you down, have them out, and give it back. And that says a lot, you know. And so I really am for this Minnesota nice, especially, like, me being bilingual, and a lot of times I have to, like, translate for people, or, like, I'm in a public place and I speak Spanish and people are like, but it's not like that in Minnesota. They're like, welcome, where are you from, you know. So I think that it's important to share with my YouTube family how I moved to Minnesota and why I'm still here. But, you know, like I said, now it's been 5 years since the robbery happened, and every year in October, I just get kind of, you know, there's a little bit of memories that come back, but the biggest blessing in all this is I know that the moment that I moved to Minnesota, my PTSD is almost non-existent. The fresh air and environment was exactly what I needed. Everyone's different, but for KP, I healed moving to Minnesota. And like I said, I know all about y'all's Bloody Marys and the cheese curds and the, you know, the IPAs and all that stuff. So I just really feel like I am a lot better, well-rounded person because of this experience. And so I never would think that a couple years later that a robbery, you know, could have changed my whole life. And so I'm just really glad that my PTSD is not as bad. I have some episodes, there's flare-ups, you know, and I fight those battles the best that I can, and I've found some new tools for myself to handle my PTSD whenever I feel like I'm going to be in that type of situation again, and I can never perfectly protect myself, but I do know that a change of scenery was the best thing for me, and I am forever grateful. So that is just a little story, because I get asked all the time, what is this Georgia girl? What's she doing in Minnesota? Well, that's what I'm doing, and I'm staying, and I like it. And, you know, we have one life. If you miss someplace so bad, you just move back, you know. So I miss my Georgia friends, but I don't think I'll ever move back. I really don't. But thank you guys for listening. I just wanted to, you know, kind of share this story that was really a pivotal movement in my life that has changed everything. So thank you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for taking your time, and I hope that we can take something from this. So KP loves you all, and stay positive.